Now listen, I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another video on NEC4. Bet he's got a pie chart about drainage. Well, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is, yes, it's about NEC4. The good news is, I'll try and make it sound less like reading the phone book and more like something you don't want to chew your own arm off over. What is an NEC4 supervisor? You ever seen that bloke on site who looks like he knows what's going on but isn't actually laying bricks or waving his arms like a foreman? That's us. We're like the referees of the construction world. We don't build the stadium. We make sure no one's using dodgy concrete or swapping structural steel for leftover scaffolding poles. Let me tell you what we are definitely not. We're not a site supervisor, we're not the site manager, we're not the foreman, we're not there shouting, "Get it dug," across the yard. We're the ones reading the contract, scratching our heads, going, has anyone actually read this? Where did this job come from? The NEC4 supervisor role was born from the ancient mystical role known as the clerk of works. Ah, the good old cow. Back in the day, this was the bloke in the flat cap with a clipboard who could smell bad workmanship from 30 feet away. NEC4 just gave him a new name, stuck him in the contract and said, "Off you pop, keep him in line." We're named in the contract like Batman in the Justice League, only instead of fighting crime, we fight non-compliance and poor documentation. So what do we actually do? 1. We ensure contract compliance. If the NEC4 contract says jump, we don't just ask how high. We check that the jumping was approved, measured, recorded and signed off in triplicate. 2. Quality assurance. We're the difference between a 5-star hotel finish and something your Uncle Kev knocked up on a wet Tuesday with leftover plasterboard. 3. Defects management. We don't just find problems, we catalogue them like David Attenborough finding rare insects. Here we see the elusive cracked beam, last spotted under a pile of excuses. 4. Reporting. We produce reports so detailed they make IKEA instructions look vague. How do you become one? Now, you don't just wake up one day and go, you know what I fancy? Telling grown men their concrete's substandard. You need solid construction experience and qualifications and the skin of a rhinoceros. Because let me tell you, nothing makes people defensive quite like telling them their flange isn't flush. You also need to stay sharp. NEC4 isn't set it and forget it. You've got to keep learning, updating, developing, otherwise you'll be out of date faster than last year's COVID rules. Communication, the unsung hero. Now this part's important. You've got to talk to everyone, from the client to the fella who thought it was fine to paint fire doors with gloss. You sit in meetings, you do inspections, you untangle technical issues like their spaghetti left in the microwave too long. You've got to be diplomatic, firm but fair, and above all, clear. Because if you say, that joint's a bit dodgy, someone will always say, define dodgy. Contract compliance, aka the gospel. The NEC4 contract is your Bible, and like any holy book, everyone interprets it differently. Our job is to make sure people stick to it, not guess, not improvise, not go, well, on my last job we just winged it with a bit of gorilla tape. You need to understand it better than your own Sky remote. Because if something goes wrong, everyone suddenly wants to know what Clause 43.2 really meant. Quality and safety, the double whammy. Here's the deal. You can't deliver a quality project if half the site's in traction. We check designs for buildability and safety. Because while drawing a glass bridge might look fancy on a MacBook, it's less fun when it's wobbling like a jelly on site. We're not there to catch failures, we're there to prevent them. It's proactive, not reactive. Like going to the dentist before your teeth fall out. Materials, products and closeout. We check everything from the bricks to the bog roll dispensers. Is it the right stuff? Was it approved? Did someone just find it behind the bins and think, that'll do? We commission it, verify it, sign it off. And we make sure that at the end everything works, flushes, lights up and won't spontaneously combust. Because the client doesn't want a handover pack full of mysteries, they want to sleep at night. Inspections, ITPs and check sheets. Inspections are the fun part. You walk around, clipboard in hand, doing your best CSI construction impression. ITPs, they're your recipe book. Check sheets, that's your proof you followed the recipe. Skip them? Well then, enjoy trying to convince your client that the missing floor slab was part of the design aesthetic. Progress reporting. You track progress like it's your own weight loss plan. Weekly updates, material tracking, spotting delays before they turn into disasters, because nothing says Fun Friday, like explaining to upper management why 12 tons of rebar ended up at the wrong site. Scope, specs and the dreaded scope creep. You make sure the work matches the scope, not sort of matches or we thought you wouldn't notice. And when people want to change things, we document it properly, because if you don't, you end up with a building that's mostly right, except the lift doesn't go to the top floor and the toilets are in the car park. Go, no-go decisions. Sometimes you've got to say no. And that's not always popular, but when your gut's saying this ain't right, you have to back it up with data, with photos, with paperwork thicker than a Greg's steak bake. And if someone kicks off, you say, look, pal, I'm not here to ruin your day. I'm here to stop this place becoming a Channel 5 documentary. Defects, you miss them, you own them, you spot it, you log it, you chase it, you don't let it become someone else's problem. And when someone tries to say, we'll fix it later, you say, later's where projects go to die, mate. Record keeping, aka the CYA manual, you document everything. Who did what, when, why, and what they had for lunch. Okay, not that last one, but close, because someday someone will say, no one told me that. And you'll smile, flip open your folder and say, actually, Jeff, you signed it right here with a smiley face. Close out and hand over. This is the final lap, the big finale. You issue the defect certificate. You make sure everything's wrapped up tighter than your nan's leftover turkey. And if the client smiles and says, thank you, that's your knighthood right there. Best practices, or how not to lose your mind: communicate repeatedly, clearly, even when you think you're repeating yourself. Do it again. Stay calm, especially when someone says, we don't need that test. Use humor. Honestly, it helps. Even if you're dying inside, a chuckle can buy you time to come up with a polite way to say, what in the actual frig were you thinking? Time for a pop quiz. What's the NEC4 Supervisor's job? A. Make people's lives miserable. B. Nitpick till the cows come home. C. Ensure compliance, quality, and support a successful project. If you picked C, you're right. If you picked A or B, you've clearly worked with me before. Look, NEC4 might not be sexy, it's not fast cars and wild parties, but it's vital. Without it, projects fall apart, people get hurt, budgets explode. With it, things work. So next time you see your NEC4 supervisor on site, give him a nod, or at least don't pretend to be on the phone when you see him coming. That's the basics. But let's be honest, being a supervisor under NEC4 is anything but basic. If this helped clear the fog, drop a like, share it with someone who still thinks we just sign paperwork, and follow for more. I'm Coop, and this is It's a Defect, bringing site truth with contract teeth.